Guys, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. It is December 24th, 2020. A little Christmas Eve special gold price update for you. I hope you are well. I hope you are starting to enjoy the holiday season as best as we all can with everything that is going on in the world. Obviously, I want to make sure that you hit the big red subscribe button and the bell icon so that you will know when these free videos are released. Because if you don't know when they're released, then what good does it do? So make sure to do that and let us look at what is happening in the gold market as we head into the end of the year. Let's bring up the 3-day chart. And I do want to tell you this will be the last broadcast until the new year, until the first week in January. We are taking the holiday week coming up off, so this will be the last broadcast for the next 2 weeks. So take a look at what we are seeing here in gold itself. Still this consolidation with, can we call it a slight upward bias at this point over the last several weeks? Let's call it that. Slight upward bias, right? And the big thing is that when we look at this in perspective, however, so we're talking about this slight upward bias from the last few weeks, still part of this larger downtrend that we've been seeing since the August peak, right? $2,074 in the spot market. And I will tell you, my take on this market at this exact moment is that the sentiment has become very negative as we've been in this decline now for almost 5 months. It's become very negative. It's worn people's patience out here. And I think, therefore, it's almost over. I think at exactly the moment when the majority of people say that's enough, I'm done with this, that's when this market is going to break out of this decline that it's been in. And this is where the big picture comes into play. Guys, this is such a critical moment for the gold market. I cannot overstate that. I want to show you the historical perspective of where we are the last time that we have seen the setup that we are witnessing at exactly this moment. This is not the time to not pay attention to this market. This is the time to dial it in and pay even more attention and watch this and study it, because this is going to impact you over the future of your investment career in the precious metals and otherwise. Everything is related. So let's take a look at the setup where we are right now. We were just looking at this little box. That decline for the last 5 months is all contained within this little box. And what I want to draw your attention to is the similarity between what we are seeing right now as far as prices in the gold market and what we saw 10 years ago in the beginning of the year 2010, over 10 years ago. So let's take a look at this. Let's provide some perspective here. This is why it's so key to be focusing on this market. So for perspective, we had the bottom in 2000, 2001. We had the run-up into the Lehman Brothers and subprime crisis in March of 2008. This peak right here was an all-time high when it was hit in the year 2008. This was $1,033. I remember the day specifically, $1,033. And so this was a former all-time high resistance zone at that time. At the time, remember, no one had ever seen gold prices this high. People were saying it was a bubble. Gold above 1,000 is a bubble. It's crazy. Who would pay these prices? Blah, 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 right? Former all-time high resistance zone. What happened? When we hit this, there was then this decline for about 9 months, followed by a 9-month retracement. In some, it was about a year and a half, this cup-shaped consolidation. And in 2009, when the IMF sold 400 tons of gold, all of a sudden, and India stepped in September of 2009, I remember this, it caused the gold market to what? Finally break out above a former all-time high resistance zone. This was a very exciting time. I was watching this in real time. I said, this is it. We're breaking out here. This is important. what happened? We had first a $200 surge into December of that year, December of 2009, followed by what? A complete retracement and a retest. Notice this right here where the red line is. Notice we broke out. Gold did not continue moving straight higher. First, it came back and retested the former breakout point. It's very clear to see, but most people do not pay attention, and most people get flushed out on this decline if they are short-term oriented. So we are not short-term oriented here for the most part, and that's why we're noticing this kind of thing, and I'm glad that you're noticing this as well with me at this moment, because this is key. So notice after this retest, a retest is just where the market is basically saying to the buyers who were buying and stepping in here to break through the former all-time high, hey, are you guys for real? Did you really mean it? Are you actually going to step up and prove it for a second time? And when that retest is successful, notice the 2-year acceleration that we had from just over $1,000 to over $1,900. So this move in here after the successful retest is when gold almost tripled in price from these lows, doubled in price from the breakout point here, and silver, for that matter, went from $15 up to $50. And a lot of these gold and silver miners went up by 500 or 1,000% in this move right here. Now, bring it back to the present. So the thing is that a lot of people, when they talk about this former all-time high here at 1,920, they forget that after this peak was made, gold only held this price here for several weeks. And then notice gold came back down, and notice that all the attempts to get back up toward that 1900 level were stopped. 1, 2, 3. Notice that these attempts were stopped not at 1900, but at 1800. You can see that very clearly here in the black line. So I'm not making this up. The current all-time high resistance zone was more like at 1800, not actually 1900. So notice 1800 is the current all-time high resistance zone. We had the 5-year decline, the 4.5-year acceleration back up to this resistance zone. Then what? Follow the script back from 2008 through 2010. Notice the breakout, and what has this decline here been over the last 5 months? Nothing more than a retest of the all-time high resistance zone. Look at that. Perfectly back to 1800. You had a one-day dip right below 1800. It has rebounded strongly, and we are in the final stages of what appears to be that decline after the successful retest. This is very similar to the 1 or 2 weeks after the retest here in 2009, and remember what happened into the peak in 2011. So we are strongly of the opinion that this retest has been successful here. Buyers have stepped up again where they needed to. The market was daring buyers to step up, and there should be a significant advance setting up in the gold market that will take us well above the recent peak here of $2,074. And I'm going to leave it at that for now. This is the pattern. These patterns play out over and over again in markets for a reason. If you think all we're doing is looking at squiggly lines here, remember what a squiggly line is. You could call an EKG. You could call the measurement of someone's heart rate as plotted on a graph just a squiggly line. Okay, fine. If you want to call it that, that's fine. But it represents real life. It represents a pattern that emerges inside someone's body. In the same way as that, these lines here represent the sum of human beings coming together to make decisions about the gold market. And so just as heart rate monitors repeat in similar, not always exactly the same, but similar patterns throughout time, we see similar patterns here playing out in the gold market throughout time. And this is absolutely the most important time to be paying attention to this market. There should be an acceleration here, which has the potential for life-altering gains over the next 2 to 3 years. The setup is right there in front of us. You can see it. This is the message that I want to leave you with on this Christmas Eve. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and a Happy New Year just around the corner. And I want to make sure that you are aware of all the research that we are doing in our premium service, which contains videos not just on the gold market like you were seeing, but also covering silver, also covering the U.S. stock market and the U.S. dollar, also covering the exact gold miners that we are investing in here. As long as we are investing in this sector, you will know the exact buy and sell signals that we are making. All this, including videos that are not just 10 or 20 minutes, but typically 45 minutes to an hour going out every single week to you, 50 weeks out of the year. This is the service if you want to be an informed investor on these technical patterns, just like we saw, these technical patterns that are repeating in the gold market over and over again. This is the service to learn about these patterns. I don't know anyone else who is focusing on this kind of information in the way that we are doing here. This is absolutely essential to you being an informed investor, whether you are a physical gold and silver investor or whether you're investing in the gold and silver mining sector. Absolutely essential. If you would like to work one-on-one with me and just sit down and talk for half an hour or maybe an hour, depending on however long you need, know that I'm here for you. I do not take any funds or any fees from the ETFs or any of these commodity funds that we are investing in. I work entirely for your benefit as an independent analyst. I want to let you know this. So you can reach me on the Consultations tab. We sit down, we plot out a best strategy based on what I would do myself if I was in your situation. And then I can help you to execute the plan as well if there are any practicalities, if this is entirely new to you, if you're not even sure where to start in the gold market. Nothing is too small. Nothing is too big that we can't handle here. Once again, I want to thank those people who are supporting this channel on Patreon. If you would like to support us, it means very much to me personally. Remember to hit that subscribe button. I want to leave you with a wish for this holiday season. A Merry Christmas to you and your family from myself and my family. Happy holidays to you and a blessed new year just around the corner. I will see you in 2 weeks here on YouTube. Thank you once again for being with me for this year. It means a lot to me. From the bottom of my heart, I will see you in 2021.